Hey everybody, just setting up this hangout here. Got to get that other window up on the other screen so that I can see your chats, because they don't have this all integrated all in one screen for hangouts. Let's see. So while I'm doing this, I will allow myself to be distracted by people chatting, and I will respond, much like Andy did in his video. But I was just going to go over some points of contention that Andy and I have based on his last video and this back and forth we've had. First, I'll say that I too have hair ties in my truck. They're on the shifting stick because Misty drives my truck a lot. So she's got her products in there. There's a hidden brush too. You might want to think about adding a brush to your hair care products that you carry around with you, because your hair's kind of matted there. So Andy says that there's a lot of nuance and context that I'm missing, and reasons that Kyle Kulinski, Secular Talk, would use the math eliminated argument. Reasons that he had, and reasons that he would use that in one case, and then reasons that he would have to not use it in the other case. And what I'm going to say is, well, purposeful hypocrisy is usually motivated by biases, like reasons, context, nuance. But if you have two sets of standards regarding using an argument that favor the things that you like, you're delving into hypocrisy. Let's see. What else? Andy's argument that those who, like me, voted for Hillary are the reasons that Donald Trump won the presidency is laughable. We voted for the person that was his primary opponent. That we didn't give into, look, a squirrel, 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 that we didn't give up and just latch onto whoever had the best, shiniest points, in the thick of things, and we for decades were pointing towards the same candidate is not a failing. It takes that fucking long to win a presidency. Normally, we are talking in the midst of Donald Trump having won the presidency and not having had any political experience whatsoever for that. But later on in Andy's video, he even says that Hillary's than Bernie because Bernie had to start from scratch, and he didn't have the vehicle of the Democratic Party in his favor. Duh, because he hasn't been a Democrat for fucking ever. He was an independent. And so the fact that he had to start from scratch worked against him. So to say that people who are in the corner of a politician with some loyalty are the reason why Donald Trump won, it's like, no, they tried their hardest to get Hillary to win, and this counterintuitive fucking mental gymnastics that it takes to blame Donald Trump on Hillary Clinton when there were so many other different factors that happened there. I don't know. I never said that Bernie doesn't deserve to be president because he didn't have a D next to his name for his whole career. But I do make the argument that someone who wants to be the leader of a political party or use a political party to get elected to anything should be a member of that party, not just when it's convenient. You don't have to be a perfect party loyalist, but Bernie spent his whole career giving us reasons why he shouldn't be a part of the Democratic Party. Okay, 30 fucking years of it, and then he wants to be a member of the party. Just I think that I'll have a better chance at winning the presidency, so I'm going to wear a D for a little while. Bernie could have run third party and won. I'll say that right now. He could have won if he had run third party. He would not have had the same type of fight in the primaries against Hillary. He would have had a fight against Trump. He would have had a fight against Hillary. But I think he would have done better than Ross Perot, at least. I actually think that Democrats and Republicans are both shitting their pants at the idea that he might run independent in 2020. They're right now sending their reporters to ask him the question, hey, can you rule yourself out as somebody who will run for us? Could you make a statement about that right now here in 2017? You know, because we really want that comment from you. They shove microphones in his face and he won't fucking answer, right? It's because it fucking scares them. And then your argument that you shouldn't have to join one of two gangs is actually an argument against Bernie trying to co-opt one of the major parties in the first fucking place. Oh, you're not making sense in your own fucking video, and you're touting your expertise as a political science major in your video. Let's see. We've got some comments. Yes, Shameless James. This is an impromptu stream response. Cold War says, I'm loyal to ideas, party be damned. Okay. Cold War 45 says he doubts that in the current system that somebody can win third party. Bernie had the best fucking chance. He still does. Of anyone ever doing it in history. There'll be better chances after him. But if what we need is the two-party system to fail, we have to have people committed to voting for third parties and making it fail. Okay? I feel like he's in a position where he could be the person to snap the streak of it being red or blue, red or blue, red or blue. And he needs to make that fucking jump. 1-800-STOMP says, I was hoping Bernie would run on the Geritol ticket. They're all fucking old. I think that Donald Trump right now is like Ronald Reagan, suffering from dementia and Alzheimer's, at least beginning stages of it. And everyone's fucking hiding it like the emperor has no clothes. Third parties haven't won a state in 57 years. You mean like a governorship? That's something that Andy brought up in his thing. That's the goalpost to say that third party can't win is governorships, because Bernie Sanders is a senator and he's got an I next to his name. How many fucking senators have we had that have been third party? How many fucking state senators and state representatives have we had that have been third party? How many congressmen have we had that have been third party? It's fucking possible, you know. And I think that feudalism part of the problem. It's part of the difference between Andy and I. I don't have this feudalistic look at politics, and I believe that things that have not happened before can happen. And he'll call himself a progressive and say we need to move towards these things, but then be locked into this mindset that you can't change things. You know, there's this internal inconsistency in the things that he's saying. Oh, a state in a presidential election. When you say state, then Cold War 45, you mean a country? Who just won France? What party was he from? Anyways, yeah. Thank you, Islet of Langerhans. Bernie was a third-party citizen. Now back to my points about Andy's video. I don't think that adherence to a party line should determine who is president, and I have never said that. I think adherence to a party line should get you closer to leading that party or being their nominee. Our disagreement, Andy and I, it lies in principally his idea that third-party candidates will never win, whereas I believe they have a chance. Bernie hasn't won anything in a long time, anything serious with D or an R next to his name. No, he's been most successful with an I next to his name, and he needs to fucking stay that way. Shameless James thinks he means that they haven't won a state in the Electoral College in 57 years. Okay. Hey, Quintica. Nice to see you in my stream. Yeah, this is just an impromptu thing because I'm responding to an impromptu thing, or at least what gave the appearance of an impromptu thing, and I'll get to that later in my video. Okay? So, Andy Bryte, in his video, says, you say that parties aren't enshrined in the Constitution, right? But then he in the same fucking video says that Democrats and Republicans are the only two ways to win. There's no other way. I say they're not, and Bernie was the best chance that we had to prove that. But instead, he decided to co-opt a party rather than run independent in 2016. Hopefully, he decides against that route in 2020 and gives those people who want to be Bernie bots a real fighting chance. So, let's see. Andy said that Hillary voters don't want to make a difference and don't give a fuck. I think that right now you can see a lot of different examples of Hillary voter really upset at all of the infighting that happened in the Democratic Party because of the existence of Bernie Sanders. Okay, and I think there's a lot of Hillary voters that are making impassioned pleas right now. Don't let this fucking happen again. And I think that they do have heart. They do have passion. They didn't believe the same things as Bernie, and they had been working for decades to try to get the same candidate to win, and they were very upset that people were so short-sighted that they would just fall for Johnny come lately because he had this momentum of an independent, that independence thing. Let's see. Island of Langerson's hand says Biden should have run. I think Biden versus Trump would have been a lot better for sound bites both ways. I think it would have been a lot more comedic. Cold War 45 says I was referring to Electoral College votes. It's extremely rare. Yeah, you really have to have a third-party candidate that can really inspire people. I think the in my lifetime, the closest we've had is Ross Perot. That's all that I can remember. And Cold War 45 says the last time it happened that someone won a state as an independent was 1968. That makes sense because that's before I was born. So, yeah, Ross Perot had a fucking chance, and it's just the way that uh, the Electoral College works, that it kind of erases what is large gains by the other parties. I mean, look at the political map that Trump is having hung on his walls, and like has like all red. Hillary got more votes than him, and that map of all red on America, you know, it basically it's just using statistics and graphics in a very disingenuous way to erase the gains that people had. Um, just because somebody didn't win doesn't mean that they didn't have a good showing, but there can be only one. Rubber Wilbur, I did not remove the videos about Rogie giving me cookies. In fact, I made videos about that. Just look up her name, Rogie Riverstone, on my channel. I did not remove those videos at all. I do believe that if Perot hadn't choked and dropped out and came back in, he would have won in some states. Quinticus thinks that Kucinich should have ran as an independent rather than a Democrat. I actually think Kucinich is probably better qualified than Bernie or Hillary as far as his ability to manage something. And I really enjoyed Kucinich's facial expressions. They're really telling when he was looking at all the different political theater. I really felt for the guy. Unfortunately, he had no big machine behind him. That's that. Hot sauce is not something that would get me to vote for a person, but I'm actually the kind of person who saves Taco Bell hot sauce packets because they have the best hot sauce. And to see somebody carrying around like an ethnic hot sauce bottle in their bag, be it Tabasco or Tapatio or anything like that, I'm like, please. If you were really somebody who represented me and where I come from, you would be white trash enough to have some Taco Bell hot sauce packets in your fucking glove compartment. Okay? That's how you're going to get my fucking vote. Anyways, in Andy's video, he said if Bernie had started his campaign earlier, he would have won. Fucking duh. Hillary Clinton fucking started her campaign decades ago. That's how she even had a fucking chance. And then Andy brings up this bullshit again of poll after poll showed that Bernie had a better chance of winning against Donald Trump. See, you're citing this poll and all these organizations that had these polls that showed that Donald Trump had like 1% chance of winning and Hillary Clinton was a fucking shoo-in. Those are the polls that you're the same fucking organizations that you're saying, oh, we should trust them when they said Bernie Sanders had a better chance of winning. When they were so fucking wrong about Hillary being a shoo-in, even the day before the fucking election, and they all had fucking egg on their face. And now you're going to fucking cite them as a source to say, oh, Bernie would have won? Trump could have beaten Bernie too, and you don't know anything else, okay? Because all the fucking polls that you had that said he would have won bigger, maybe Bernie's policies would have enraged the rednecks that voted for Trump even more, and they would have shown out in even bigger numbers. You don't know that Bernie would have won against Trump. You're just fucking buying into bullshit. All right. I've even forgotten how the fact that Obama came out from under and beat her in the primary was a shock. Cold War. I have forgotten that too. But now that I see you saying that, I'm like, I do kind of remember that. I remember my sister and her friend who had campaigned for Hillary in Wisconsin being really upset that they had put a lot of work into Hillary's campaign, and they were really afraid that they were going to see a continuation of Republican presidency back in 2008. I remember in 2004 how a lot of my friends were liberal Democrats, and it was like a fucking funeral when Bush won a second time. So I remember how upset they were that people did not go with Hillary Clinton because they felt like going with a more unknown entity was a really risky gamble. That's an interesting thought that CNN uses blue for the same blue for the oceans that they use for the Democrats to make it look like there's more blue on the map just to mess with Republicans. That's interesting. 1-800-STOMP. Cody Fox says Obama was charming and charismatic, and Hillary was a harpy. I can actually see that one. I'll concede. And I'm not saying Hillary was the perfect candidate at all. You know, um, I really feel like she came off as fake, and the hot sauce thing that was part of that fake air that she had around her. She really didn't connect with people. I don't even feel like Bernie Sanders connects with people as much because he's got that creepy old guy vibe. I felt like Kucinich, if he had a spotlight, he might be able to connect with people a little bit more. Um, I'm afraid that absent Trump, if Trump were to get unseated as president, as a lot of people have these political uh, fantasies about that. Of course, Mike Pence would be the next in line. But if he were to get defeated in his reelection campaign, I feel like there's some charismatic people in the Democratic Party that can't match up to the charismatic people in the Republican Party. I think Marco Rubio really connects with people as well as Paul Ryan. And a part of that is just having a fucking presidential haircut. It's feelings over policy. But I feel like there are a few other people that are a lot more charismatic that just didn't have the machine behind them, like Hillary had. Let's see. Cold War is explaining how in most countries conservative means it's conservative blue and liberal is red, and U.S. is an anomaly. And there's actually a Vox video that explains how it came about. The red blue thing here in America. It's relatively recently, and it had to do with television. Okay, so back to Andy's points. Uh, Andy talked about needing context in the beginning of his video. He said that I needed to show more of the context of Kyle Kalinske using the mathematically eliminated argument to really show whether or not it was hypocrisy as I was painting it to be. And then he insulted my participation in all of this, in this back and forth that we had between us, by saying that he didn't watch my whole video, and then he skipped through it, removing context when he was making his video response. Okay, so which is it? Do you need context, or is it okay to just skip through my videos and say condescendingly that you didn't watch my whole video because I ramble a little bit? Okay, which is it? Huh. Yeah, I did make a point where I said that I think that Trump's healthcare plan coming out will be a step more towards universal healthcare, and I didn't flush that out exactly what I'm saying here. I think that it will either incrementally be closer, or the failure that it will be will cause that political pendulum to swing further the next time around, and we will get closer to universal health care that way. And I feel like I explained the political pendulum aspect of that, but I could have been more clear about that. Now, I want to talk about how Andy Bryte was being disingenuous when he said that he did not watch my video, when he actually alludes to having watched parts that he skips over when he acts like he's making a live response to my video. But he starts out his video, for instance, saying that he has hair ties in his vehicle that help him secure his camera because he's a hippie. Well, that's part of an insult that he was alluding to that was at the end of my video. And in his video where he's making a live reaction, he cuts me off at the end, and we never get to that point. Which kind of shows that, yes, he did watch my video before he made his video, but he wanted to skip over certain parts, right? And I think the part that he skipped over, that it really detracts from one of his points the most, is when I was giving my political resume, and I said, what did you do? Take a class, did you read a book? Did you watch videos? Because I knew he was a political science major, right? I knew I'd get under his skin by saying that. But when I was giving my resume, the thing that he skipped over in order to make a point that I wasn't being active in policy making was the fact that I am a fucking two-time delegate, right? Here's my fucking credentials right here and right here, motherfucker. And what do you do as a fucking delegate? Oh, you come up with a platform for your party by hashing it out with other people. You vote on different planks of the fucking platform, and then you submit it to the party. You voted it on the state level, which I was a fucking state level delegate as well. These are the credentials here, right? And then that goes up to the national level, where they add it to the fucking platform, and they compare different states' platforms, and they decide what they are going to stand for. Yes, this is about policy fucking making. The fact that I was a delegate is something that Andy decided to skip over. He goes right to the part where I'm talking about how I've been embedded in activism, and those videos are on my channel, and how I was a voter registration drive organizer, and how I was a polling place coordinator. And he says, oh, well, that's like running a gas station or a supermarket. He skips over the part where I have videos on my channel where I filmed the assemblies that I was at, okay, where I was a fucking delegate. And I just want to fucking out him as a disingenuous prick for having watched my video previously and then skipped over the parts that hurt his fucking feelings and hurt his points. Especially the part where I said he looks like Honey Boo Boo grew up tried to transition and can't grow a beard. So anytime anyone sees Andy Bryte branded anywhere, I want you to fucking call him Honey Boo Boo. Just fucking call it like it is. He's fucking Honey Boo Boo from now the fuck on.